Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? It is Tank, and we are very excited to welcome to the Farrah and Farrah Performance Studio the champion of the world, the one, the only, Swerve Strickland. How's it going, my friend?
It is going swell.
Now,
I've been using the word swell lately.
Is that because you are constantly in pain, or?
I would like the world to be swell. I
Yeah.
would like our wrestling business to be swell.
Yeah.
But if it's a swell wrestling business, then it's not an entertaining one.
Uh-huh.
So I'll say, let's keep the backstage swell.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And that's what happens to my body after I have matches with Samoa Joe. So, yeah.
Samoa Joe is a large human being.
Large force of nature.
Yeah.
It goes beyond a human being. That man is a titan. You know what I mean? And he's a legendary one at that.
Yeah.
Been doing this for past 2 decades. He's been doing this at a very high level. Like literally early in his career, he was at the highest level of pro wrestling.
Really?
Yeah. So just the fact that he's still doing it at a high level in 2024, that man is deserves his roses very, very soon, if not already. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's also I keep looking back there because I'm afraid Hangman Adam Page is going to pop out and try to attack us. Just know if something happens, I got your back.
I know his tricks at this point.
Yeah.
I figured him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild because AEW, you guys got an event tomorrow night at Daly's Place
Yes. AEW Dynamite.
on TBS.
Yep. Live at 8 o'clock
Yeah.
Eastern time.
Yeah. And, the AEW is our hometown wrestling promotion. Tony Khan is the CEO, the owner. And it's been such a breath of fresh air in the wrestling business.
Yeah. Oh, and it's ever growing forever. Daly's Place, I've only wrestled there one time.
Really?
Yeah. There was a Rampage against Matt Sydal. And
Okay.
another one. Matt Sydal been doing it well over 2 decades. And, it was not a long match, but it was just man, I feel radiation from this place, from the people.
Yeah.
You know? And Rampage usually tapes later, so it's people are still lively, open arena venue.
Great place for a wrestling event, for sure.
Yeah. For wrestling, when you're not fully clothed, it's a little uncomfortable with the weather. And I was feeling it too. I was like, ooh, the sun went down quick. Oh boy. But yeah, it's a lovely place, awesome. It was really amazing. It's just a really amazing venue to look at and be in and perform in.
And it's so much fun too because you guys really bring together both the up and coming and the youngest talent, and a guy like Sting. I mean, this guy is 62 or something like that.
Yeah.
And still does it at a really high level. You've seen a lot of these guys hang on too long, but I mean, I can't believe how well he's aged.
He's taking care of himself very well.
Yeah.
He's also been put in really great positions in AEW to constantly sustain that health. It's always up to him whatever type of risks he wants to take.
Right, yeah.
But he's riding this thing till the wheels fall off. He didn't coast on the end of his career. He blasted through,
He did, yeah.
But man, literally hats off to Tony Khan and the rest of the staff at All Elite Wrestling for literally the way Sting has been presented in these last couple years of his career. I was very, very blessed to be in the ring with him.
Yeah.
And a historic event,
Great match.
All In. Thank you very much. The tag match at Wembley Stadium. I was blessed to be in that have the opportunity, positioning for that, to work with them. Like I said, AEW put this man in the most amazing positions to succeed, treated like how a legend of that caliber, like an icon should be, on the way out, on his own doing.
Yeah.
Not forced out, not pushed out, not God forbid injury or anything to happen like that to finally just cut him before the end of his run. No, it was the way he wanted to go out in the best way possible, and I'm honored to be in the same lineage of tag team champions alongside Sting. You know what I mean? And a good friend of mine, Darby.
Yep. Except for you, kind of stabbed your teammate in the back. But whatever. Hey, that's between you and him. You guys.
I mean, I was trying to keep it towards Sting.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Sting.
Fair enough. Sting. And what I loved about the way they did it is that everything about it was still it made sense. You know what I mean? It
For sure.
It didn't get silly. It didn't, it stayed like, oh my God, this is like great. This is fun to watch still. I don't feel like they're just wheeling this guy out.
No.
He's making an impact, no
still
pun intended.
Like still igniting a crowd. Like the last, I would say the last couple main events, it was just like were very heartwarming for the fan base, and that's how you want people to leave a pay-per-view and a great event full of like stacked, awesome talent, giving incredible matches, telling great stories, giving incredible action, storytelling in between, and then like people jumping in, coming in, like making debuts and like interjected returns and stuff like that, all these like shocking moments, and then to culminate the shows with like heartwarming stories like Revolution. You had Sting winning the tag team championship in the last match of his career, not just like the last match for All Elite Wrestling, but the last match of this iconic 30 plus year career, and going off, and everybody standing up. The locker room is emptied out on the stage with Tony Khan in the front clapping for him. Like, that's how you want that feeling leaving an event as a fan. And then the following night, my following pay-per-view was Dynasty, myself making history in that main event of Dynasty in St. Louis. Like, people feeling something like, man, we're witnessing something special. The end of a career and the coronation of, like, this history of a great new career.
Right, because
back-to-back pay-per-views.
You're a young guy. I mean,
I would like to think so.
Compared to me and compared to a lot of people, you're still a very young guy. Do you see? Is that what you want? That longevity to go that long? Or do you
no.
Yes. Right. See, that's how I would feel too.
No.
Yeah. Exactly.
I want a long, impactful career.
Right.
But like Sting, I kind of want to have the ability to be like, you know what? I'm done. I don't have to go as long as I want to, but I choose to go as long as I want to.
Right.
And like, I don't know if I told Sting, I was like, man, I don't know if I want to go as long as you did. You're a different type of animal.
Sure.
Not everybody can do that and still be able to walk on your own 2 feet, on your own strength out.
To move like that at that age, at that age, to be able to move like that, still have that. I mean, that's just a dedication to take care of your body.
That's passion.
Yes.
That's true passion. I hate like stories about like, oh, Sting got into wrestling. He wasn't really like into wrestling. He was just good at it. And like, I'm like, no, that's still passion to keep going.
Right.
Whether like it, and to me, it's not about where you start and how you start, where you come from in wrestling. It's where you go after it gets hard.
Yes.
And you keep going. That's what determines like legends and icons and your legacy.
I mean, those NWA guys, they had some lean years there for a while. You know what I mean? There was some tough times, and then they, came through it, and a lot of these guys have really gone on to blossom. Where did you get your start? I heard that you were really young when you started.
18 years old is when I started training.
Yeah.
And that was a tough year. Those 18 to 20 years was probably the toughest of my life. Actually, 19 to 20, I would say. 18, I came back from military training in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Went to Fort Gordon, Georgia, to continue more training in the military. So I was away from home around 8-9 months, like continuously.
Was that the first time you'd ever been away?
Yes. Yeah. Literally after 2 weeks after high school, I got on a plane flight right down to Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Marines?
Army Reserve.
Army Reserve. Okay.
Yeah. And came back home, worked some jobs here and there. I decided, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to like live this life, I'm going to try something that I'm passionate about. Whether I fail at it, I'm going to try something, because like just doing the same thing over and over again, this just doesn't feel good for me.
Sure.
So I moved down to, my mom was living in Richmond, Virginia at the time. I left my buddy's house. I was renting a room there. Left this house, moved down with my mom, stayed on her couch, and I started the place called Ground Zero Wrestling. Zero with an X, by the way. Very important.
Huge distinction, for sure.
Yeah. Ground Zero Wrestling in Richmond, Virginia. It was like 25 minutes away from my mom's house. I made a call. She drove me over there. I started training that night. She watched for like a good couple hours, paid for my first month's tuition, and then the rest is history pretty much after that.
What was your like kind of aha moment that you wanted to be a wrestler? Who's like the person that kind of made you want to do it?
I grew up with a bunch of buddies in high school, and we all played the video games. We've all played we grew up playing and acting out, like going to the backyard busting glass over each other's heads and stuff. So I was deathmatch ready.
That doesn't seem normal.
Yeah, it's not. It's not.
We hit each other with bricks and.
Yeah, it's not. And yes, that happened too. Yeah. It's not. And I highly advise people young kids to do that. But I was like deathmatch scarred up already before I really started pro wrestling. I had light tube scars on my arms and stuff. That was like at 15, 16 years old. Right. And I was in. It was like those lunch table talks. If you showed up to the lunch table and you didn't watch wrestling the night before, you were like kind of like out of the loop. Like, what's everybody talking about? You missed this awesome moment. What? Oh my God! Or like it was like that Chappelle Show and Boondocks. Those are those things in high school. Right. If you missed those things and you had nothing to talk about, you were not you were getting clowned on, and it was not cool. So you had to watch those 3 things with my friends. So those are the guys that got me the love of pro wrestling, watching it consistently. But pushing me to go be a pro wrestler, it was just all myself. It was just I had a vision and I followed it, and I was like, of course there was fears of failure. Mm-hmm. I was expecting to fail in certain aspects, but I was never expected to stop. I always told, I still tell this to people all the time, like you can go faster in your career, you can go slower in your career, but you never stop.
Right.
The pacing is up to you, though. You get to control your pace. And sometimes you're not even awarded that. Sometimes like circumstance, destiny, fate kind of takes you out and slows you, speeds you up, and takes you on different directions. Sure. But you just don't stop, and I just never stopped.
Well, it seems like also like your ascension has been really impressive. You know what I mean? From like coming in and getting the tag team titles, and then now you're champ of the world. Can you talk a little bit about what that feels like to hold that belt up and stand in front of the crowd and from the millions of people watching on TV and be the champion of the world?
For me, I didn't get here alone. I have the greatest support system you could ever imagine, and that's not just like my personal team, my work team, and my music and stuff. It's like the AWPR setting me up in positions like this to get my name out there for people who want to see me do something next. Right. It's like getting on the road and Tony Khan booking me, whether it's a Dark, a Ring of Honor, a Rampage, a Collision. It's something to get an opportunity to get people to see you more and invest even further in you. You don't get here without getting TV time.
Right.
Or YouTube time.
But you also have to bring it when you get that opportunity. To perform. Right.
But that's what I say. It's up to you. If you stop, you don't get anything.
Luck is preparation meets opportunity.
Right. Yeah. I've something me and my oldest daughter, we say all the time. Something like I brought her with me during the summer to train with my personal trainer, and we pushed her. We pushed her hard, and it was good to get those nerves woken up that you never knew, like in her. She's only 13, 14 years old at the time, and she's like, oh my God, I know I can do that. I'm like, that's good, but I always understand something, like losers make excuses. What do we say? I say winners make solutions, losers make excuses.
Okay.
And
I like that.
Like, we don't make excuses why we can't. We find a way to win. We find a way. We make a solution out of these things.
I tell my daughter the same. She's 2.5. She's almost 3. Yeah. I tell her, don't get frustrated. Find the solution. Yeah. Because the solution is in there, and you just got to find it.
And it's in they're young girls, so I got, as a father, as a man, I got to be a little more patient. Right. So sometimes when she's frustrated, I'm like, yeah, feel that. I'll let you feel it. Mm-hmm. Feel that frustration. Let it out, but also come back and be like, all right, what are we going to do about it? Right. Because we felt it already. Mm-hmm. Do you want to feel that way again? No. Yeah. How do we fix that? We got to do something about it.
How many kids you got?
2 girls.
2 girls. Oh, yeah, wow.
2 girls.
Girl dad.
14 and 12.
Oof.
Big girls.
Oof.
Yeah. So that's what I was going to say, going back to those 19 and 21-year-old days. Wrestling training, Army, job, started school.
Yeah, starting a family.
Oldest daughter was born. Something had to give.
Right,
so sorry, school, you got to go. So that was at 19 years old. So it wasn't easy. Me and the mother was not on the same page. Sure. I was living in Virginia training. She was living in Pennsylvania. So 3-4 hour drives every once in a while. And then to add on to I'm going to chase the dream to be a professional wrestler at weighing 160 pounds in the Army. Wasn't not her, the family, my family were what are you doing with your life? I'm like, trust me, I'm going to get this done. Now I'm at the point where like I can just take care of my kids comfortably. I'm like, hey, I'm in town. We're going to go see the world. Where do we want to go? And be like, okay, we're going to train because I have all this knowledge from all the experience in pro wrestling and business and meeting like guys like Tony Khan and him introducing me to this guy who's works for Warner Brothers, introducing me to Roger Goodell at Monday Night Football, being friends with Rick Ross, to going on to like working with Oscar winners Lucas Brothers, to Flash Garments, to Grammy Award winning producers. I have all this knowledge and experience to be like, girls, I know you can do this because I did this.
Are they looking to get into the wrestling or
I
the music?
hope not.
No,
I really hope not.
You would discourage that.
I would discourage the program. If it was really what they want to do, they'd have to show me. I'm like, okay, if this is what you want to do, you're going to have to show me.
Will they have to beat you in a handicap tag match?
Oh, yeah. I'm like, if you can beat me, you can start today. I'll make the call to Tony Khan this second.
Let's talk about your music career because you're a multifaceted guy and you're got a new album coming out next month.
Yeah, in May, I believe May 10th, but we're announcing that myself and Flash Garments, if you know Flash Garments, he's the one you see in the entrance music video of mine. We performed at Wembley Stadium with DJ Who Kid.
Wow.
DJ Who Kid's the one that dropped that diss for Drake last week.
Yep.
So he's the one that came out with us in Wembley. It's called Motion Sickness. We literally recorded the last 5 songs in one day.
Wow.
At the house.
That's efficient.
It was like I had a weekend free, which is very rare.
Sure.
You know, especially knowing what was coming up. I was like, all right, if we're trying to drop it on this date, we have no weekends free. We have to get this done this weekend. So I stayed home. I bunkered it down like a tornado was coming.
Right.
We're not leaving till we get this album done. All we can get is food. We can play a video game every once in a while, but we have to finish this album. And we just blazed through it. Got the last 5 tracks done. He sent them off to the producer to get them mixed and mastered. Now we're ready to release it. We just released last night after the pay-per-view was finished. We just released Real Eyes, our first single together on the album.
Nice.
And this is fresh, all fresh cuts. We literally finished like half the album last week. So these are fresh cuts.
Hot off the presses.
Hot off the press. Yeah. Ready to cook. Real Eyes is out. Music videos going to be done. We're going to be shooting those soon for those. Not to mention press runs here. Not to mention a documentary's been being filmed in the backstage that I haven't really been telling anybody. But documentary about like
you heard it here first.
The journey of the first African American world champion, and that one side, and music. The hip hop side with Flash Garments, who was like working on the Donda album with Kanye in that writing group with like Travis Scott and all them guys. Being let go that's where it starts. It starts from him being let go from the Kanye West crew,
which is always good, honestly.
Yeah, and then me getting let go from WWE, and us linking together from one mutual friend, Blake Ricciardi. Shout out to him in Hollywood, and being like, I think you could use something, and I think you have some tools that could be used to help each other.
Right.
Go do stuff.
Go create.
It was like literally 2 kids meeting on the playground. Go play.
Right.
So that happened, and then we just started brainstorming, and big pressure was made the next night at 3 a.m. in Los Angeles with a producer I've never met before, never knew him. That's Prophet. Prophet won 2 Grammys. We went to the Grammys later that year. He won 2 Grammys for the work on Donda, from working with Weeknd and Kanye West on those records, and Jay-Z on the Jail track on there. Now he's like a brother of mine. He flew out to St. Louis to watch Dynasty happen.
Nice.
And next thing you know, we have a story. And then now the Lucas brothers, who are Academy Award winners for the screenwriting on Judas and the Black Messiah and 22 Jump Street, a bunch of other accolades that they have and worked on. They're directing and like getting funding for this whole thing. They're literally flying camera crews out to wherever we're going to film our story together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Man.
On top of Jericho booking us on the Jericho cruise to perform an hour set, and he loved the hell out of it. He's like, "You guys are awesome. come open for Fozzy
wow.
with us. So that's coming up. So it's a whirlwind right now. So things are going on.
Are you going to use something from the new album as a new entrant music, or are you just going to keep
sticking with Big Pressure?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's
if
smart.
it ain't broke.
100%.
Yeah. But this is awesome to like have the fan base that loved Big Pressure. If you've been hearing it for the last 2 years now and you're ready for something new, it is coming. It's right around the corner.
Any diss tracks on there?
No disses.
No disses?
Maybe there are. I don't know.
Are you
maybe some subliminals?
Because we were talking about we've been everybody's captivated by this new Drake and J. Cole and Kendrick stuff, and it's like I'm an older guy, so like I watched Tupac and Biggie, and I watched Nas and Jay-Z beef, so all this stuff is precious to me.
Yeah, this is like picking on the kid who's not wearing matching shoes in class, and we all know he's not wearing matching shoes. He's been coming in all semester not wearing matching shoes. Like, you're not wearing matching shoes, and like,
yeah, we know.
Okay, yeah, we know. Yeah. He's been a geek for years.
Right.
Cool. Like,
thanks.
So that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
So it's like they're picking at each other. It's like, oh, Kendrick, you're short. Okay, cool. He's sold out like all these tours. We've went to go see that short motherfucker.
Right.
So it's like little funny stuff, you know. The only thing I'm just like, J. Cole just let us all down and disappoint us.
I disagree, man. I respect him so much for being like grown about it. You know, like I mean, you as an artist probably have a different perspective of it because you know it is kind of like a artistry thing. But like, I'm like, all right, that's pretty big of him to be.
If The Rock been coming out saying he's going to lay the smack down, and he's never laid the smack down.
Yeah,
when it's time to lay the smack down.
Yeah, you're right.
What are we doing? You kind of got to go through every promo and like yellow highlight all the trash talk he's done all these years and like, no. That's kind of how I feel like
no Rudy Poo candy asses.
Nope. That didn't happen. No.
Yeah, you're right.
You never paid it off. So it's like that's how I feel about like Cole. Like, man, he's been like all like the year where he just featured to death and like slaughtered every feature verse for like all these different artists. And like didn't put out a project either. He just went on a feature high for like all year, saying like, "Don't come with me. With the smoke, you see a glass half full of air. I see a glass half full of ether." And I'm like coming at killing people. Like I'm like, highlighter. Nope.
There's receipts. You gotta check those receipts.
No.
Yeah.
Middle child. I know.
Right.
Because when it finally came time to do battle, like you didn't shoot. You hid in the bunker.
All right.
You know?
I mean, you're not wrong. I can't disagree with you because you're not wrong.
That doesn't mean you're not a good shooter. You're not a good marksman. But when it came time to actually put that to the test, you dropped the gun and you ran back in the bunker. So I'm like, all right. So, but at training, you're shooting 40 for 40, 39 for 40. I'm like, all right, cool, shoot him.
They came at you. You have the right to just go.
Yeah, so that's where I feel a little disappointed, especially like as the top lyricist. It's like it's almost like championship. If I say I'm the best, I got to go out and prove it. If I say I'm like
fighting champion,
you got to be the fighting champion that you say you are when you put yourself on there, and that's a responsibility.
Now, do you have a favorite diss track of all time?
Something about No Vaseline just hits every time.
That's exactly what I said.
It's still like
it's the hardest. I mean, like I thought "Hit 'Em Up" was the scariest.
The Hit 'Em Up. Listening back to it now is like kind of uncomfortable. You're like, ooh.
No, absolutely.
Because especially you see like where the outcome of Tupac and everything. It's like it feels more eerie.
Yes,
because he was calling for the smoke.
Yes,
and he got it.
He did.
So it's like, oh man, that's like like listening back to Hit 'Em Up. It's a little bit more difficult, but like Ice Cube was just like kind of came at everybody in like a management standpoint. I came for y'all, like I came for the lawyer, calling him this. Yeah, like you're getting screwed by him, and he knows it, and you're like the lapdog of this. Just kind of went through everybody from NWA up and down, like from Ruthless Records. He just destroyed and just cut everybody down in a very derogatory way, very direct way,
but also very clinical. You know what I mean? Like just like precise.
Yeah, like the flow switch ups. I'm friends with O'Shea. He said,
nice.
Yeah, he's like one take. I'm like,
no way.
If that is true, then God Almighty, might be one of the greatest. Like just assassinations in like disc record history, just music history.
You can't even explain like how that just completely deflated the mystique of NWA. It was just crazy.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah,
you know? It's
unbelievable.
Like nobody was ever the same after.
No.
that. Yeah, like
nobody looked at him the same. I mean,
and that's the scary part about hip hop. It's like if you kind of got to tread lightly, but you got to like answer those claims that whatever you say in music, and especially the higher you go, the quicker you can fall if you don't answer those clapbacks.
Yeah.
The quicker you can fall when you don't like stand on business on things.
Right.
Yeah, and that's why it's like. And I was like, we interviewed Adam Copeland on the Swerve City podcast earlier in the day of the pay-per-view, and I'm like, man, we were went into the same subject matter. I'm like, all right, man, you're a rock band guy. You ever see two rock bands just go at each other on records? Has there ever been the thing where like,
totally.
He was like, man, he's like, I don't know, like maybe like only within the bands, like so and so's throwing a cymbal at him, he's with so and so's wife, and
we were just talking about this is like a thing, like there is like legitimate rock star to rock star diss record. It's not as direct as hip hop. That's the thing we were saying. It's like if you're talking about hip hop, like you say, Kendrick Lamar, you're short, you have small feet, but in a rock song, it'd be a little bit more indirect and a little bit metaphorical. Except for like Leonard Skinner from right here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
They had beef, not real beef because they liked Neil Young, but the song Sweet Home Alabama was a direct shot at Neil Young for the song Southern Man.
Oh,
so tell Mr. Young we don't need him anyhow. That's as direct as it gets in rock music.
Oh, he was shooting at him.
He was, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I mean
damn Neil.
That's not the same thing as the stuff that was. But he ain't gonna make sure your kids don't grow. It's not that.
Yeah. But like at the same, it's like okay, cool. Neil ain't gonna show up outside. Like what's the name? Like yo, what's up? Like what's up? What's really good? I'm like,
so as a hip hop as a rap, are you a rapper? I don't.
Yeah.
Would you call yourself that?
I would say artist.
Yeah. See, that's what I would say.
Yeah, I'm not going to battle you.
Rapper feels like an 88 term. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel accurate anymore.
Like I love the way Tyler Creator was asked that question and he answered it. He's like, "Oh yeah, being rapper is great. We're smart. We're great with words. This is like we're really smart people."
Right?
I'm like, okay, at least he's like the first person to say he's proud to be labeled rapper because some people are like when they're at the courtside of a Knicks game and the rapper comes on, they're like, they were in movies too. They're songwriters. Like I'm like, yeah, but they're known for rapping,
right? Yeah.
Cardi B is a rapper.
Yeah.
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 So, but it was really cool to like have somebody spin it in a positive way.
Yeah.
And
who's better with bars than you or the Acclaimed?
So. The Acclaimed are very satirical, and that's a skill in itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like to make people laugh like on a weekly basis like that is not easy, and sometimes it can go bad. You've seen the Acclaimed go through that as well when they're high and low, and especially when you hit good ones. When you hit good ones, that's your standard now.
Yeah.
And to meet that all the time is like that's difficult. So I praise them on that. The longevity of the fact to keep doing it after like since the pandemic all the way to here, like no crowd to Daly's Place to like large arenas. That's not easy, and especially different cities. That there's also cities and demographics that don't understand hip hop and punchlines. Like this is where you laugh,
right?
Like
you show up in Boise, it might not hit like that.
Yeah, so like or not everybody. You got to make sure everybody catches the joke and the hook and the punchline and the setup has to be clear to hear and like make sure everybody's riding that flow on that bass. It's a lot to it. So that's not necessarily my skill. So I wouldn't say bar wise. Me, I can go a good 8 bars on the same subject matter. Connect it back to line 3 and 4 and punch it and like the second verse with like I can kind of weave my way, and Montezi taught me a lot of that like in like 4 or 5 years. He started teaching me how to rap in like during the pandemic and we made our first albums together. When
I listen to Drake rap, I always just picture him holding a teddy bear in the booth. I don't know why. It's like
but man, but even which is true. But he has the ability, like Red Button, he can just bar for like 3 minutes straight, straight up, and like punches. And I'm like, oh, that like that's the cleverness of it, the story being told in just one, like, not even a full bar.
Yeah.
Like the metaphors,
complete song, and
the complete song, and it's just like, it's like I can't. It's like when he makes these records, I'm like, oh, that's kind of like not what I was looking for. He'll make a record like a Red Button and pull you right back in.
Yeah.
Like, there he goes. Oh, I'm back on the Drake. Like, so Drake can pull that when he needs to. But like, he never sets that's his standard.
Right.
That's the cool thing about Drake is just like, I don't have to meet that standard every time, but I can when I need to on the timing of it. But Kendrick sets a standard here. Like, Good Kid, Mad City is really hard to top. That's the standard.
One of the best albums in the last 25 years.
That's like really hard to top. It's still chart topping after like 2012 that came out, and it's still chart topping. That's a high standard. So now he has to meet that with quality and lyricism and like skill and artistry and subject matter and wokeness and this and cultural. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
And Drake never had to set that bar like that. So that's how I look at them both in that sense. And like J. Cole, middle child, just kind of jumped back and forth and playing in between. He never picked a side. He's no, I'm good homie rapper.
Yeah.
In the middle. So that's how I would say me and Acclaimed are different. They have a skill that's like really difficult for me that I can't tap into consistently like that. Maybe sometimes I can, but consistently like that, no. But I make way more music than them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I make way more music.
That makes a lot of sense.
I have like I have records with like Benny the Butcher, you know,
right?
And that I'm going bar for bar like on records with Mickey Fax and John Connor and Juice from Flatbush Zombies, you know, like competing with like hitters.
Sure.
Hitters. Now, that's something that would test Max Caster. Like, I want to see him be tested that way. I'm like, all right, go up against these wordsmiths.
Right.
Like, I got Music Soul Child on my album. So, like, I want to see you go up against
exciting.
that. Yeah, like, you know, so
wow.
That's the kind of thing I want to see. I'm like, go up against these, like, get in the studio with these guys that are pressuring you.
Yeah.
Like, and have made money, sold out arenas and stuff like that. That's tough.
You can't come weak with them in the studio.
And now get on stage at Rolling Loud. Don't run your own show and do your own thing in a club. Get on stage and Rolling Loud when nobody knows you.
Right.
Test yourself. That's what I want to see from Max. I'm not saying he can't do it. I want to see if he can. That's the challenge I want to see to him.
Well, I mean, I would keep you here all day.
Oh, for sure.
We could talk about wrestling and we could talk about music, but we got a whole bunch of people that are excited to meet you. You've got tomorrow night, Daly's Place.
Yes, sir.
On TBS live. And not live. Is it live?
It's live. It's live.
Holy shit.
Every week live.
And then Saturday, also at Daly's Place.
Collision.
8
o'clock. TNT.
A lot of wrestling. AEW, Jacksonville's own wrestling right here in town.
Hometown.
And,
this is for you guys. They kept us alive for the longest time, man.
Are you wrestling both nights?
I will be there both nights.
Okay. All right.
Now you got to watch the story play out.
I feel like you guys always got to watch your back because you never know when somebody's going to pop from underneath something.
Every time.
You know what I mean?
This industry is cutthroat.
That's what I'm saying. So thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate you.
No problem.
Tank from the Farrah and Farrah Performance Studio with the champ, baby. Swerve Strickland. Everybody give it up.
My own shoe, too.
Swerve. Oh, he's got
my new shoe. My new shoe. I wore these at the pay-per-view, unveiled these by Mosh. My man has made custom colorways and shoes for Steph Curry, LeBron, Jay-Z, Stephon Diggs, and Odell Beckham. This is the first wrestling shoe, signature shoe.
Oh, my God.
That he's made for a wrestler.
That's amazing.
And he's like, if you go on his page, you'll see like he made colorways for Finn Balor and like, you know, Adam Cole and guys like that. But he's never made them their own shoe. So these are the pressure ones that I'm rocking right here. Going to have the pre-orders coming out very soon.
You gonna get them at the shows, or do you have to go online?
Very soon, you will find out. Check my social media, and those links will be up, and AEW will be promoting, helping with that. So pressure ones coming out. You can walk in Swerve shoes for once.
Swerve
feel what it's like to Swerve stomp.
Yeah,
in style, because these are probably the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn, and these are the exact ones I wore in the match too.
I love them. Yeah, those are dope, man.
Thank you, man. They say you can wrestle and have great main event matches in them, and just come out and put an outfit together and style with these things, these bad boys.
Get you a shoe that can do both, right?
Get a shoe just as versatile as your AEW World Champion, Swerve Strickland.
Yeah,
that's all
baby.
I'm saying.
Thank you so much for joining us today, man.
No problem. Thank you.
It's been awesome. We'll get to you guys out there in just a second. Everybody else, be sure to tune in and watch some action. We don't know what's going to happen yet. I mean, you probably know because you probably got it planned out in your head already, but we don't know.
Always have an escape plan ready.
That's right. Thanks a lot for tuning in. It's the Fair and Fair Performance Studio. My name is Tank with the champ, Swerve Strickland, and we'll see you at the matches.